Right now, the battle of the walking wounded. Two sides who put so much effort into their first matches of the Easter weekend only to lose. St Helens and Bradford have dominated the summer rugby league era, and they've always been able to provide some great games. This should be no exception. And it's now Deacon who slides the kick through. It's an awful bounce. It's an easy try for Andy Lynch.
Saints, you kind of went into the game knowing that they could just have this real kind of hot spell and put you to the sword. You couldn't have a play off, and if you did, the likes of Sean Long and Kieran Cunningham, they'd ruin you.
A chance for St Helens to break the spirits. They are the best team in the country from being under pressure and going full length and pulling the score back on you. Breaks your hearts.
Well, here they are. They are just short of the line. There's the kick. Wellens is after it, and he'll score for St Helens. Kick from Long, maybe. No, he's running it, and he's giving it to Billy Anderson. Oh, amazing for the kick, and Bradford goes in. Brody is there. What a brilliant pass from Anderson. St Helens will panic now. Bounce, but Carl Price has picked up. The young man could be unstoppable. Cunningham again. Wellens driving it in. He's in, Paul Wellens. Here's Robbie Paul. Lynch. Oh, he's over the line. He's got it down. Bradford have come up empty this Easter. And they have never lost 4 from the opening 8 in Super League before. They have in 2005. Gets the hat-trick and wins the match for Saints. Brian Noble will go home empty-handed.
I was standing around about that up there from about 7 years old watching you play when you were about 18. How old are you, little kid? Like, you were at least 18.
Whatever, you were 13. I know you were 13.
No, 8 or what?
You were 13 when I first got over here, because I presented you with an award. You had a final down here.
Right.
And I presented you with an award. It was ridiculous. Like Redden and all of them were playing. Wayne was playing.
Did I get man of the match, yeah?
You were. It was ridiculous. He was this big. Yeah, man, he was this big now. Everyone else was this big. Redden was this big. But he'd just destroy everyone, run and wait underneath wait under the post and then pass it to his teammates to score a try.
I've spotted Bradford since I was 6, 7. I come from a place called Carbottom Road, which is just off Manchester Road, which is probably a 10-minute walk from here.
It's opened up for Leon Price, and that's the match winner for Bradford now. Great ball. That was a wonderful pass from Leon Price. Leon Price and brother Carl is out there, but he won't need it. Oh, Leon Price! Leon Price has done St Helens up the middle, and Leon Price has picked that up like cherries off the tree, and he celebrates in front of the supporters, and that is the game for Bradford.
There wasn't any other plan. I think from probably 11, 12, when was my passion and realised that I was okay at playing rugby and I could do pretty well at it, then it was always my plan in my own head to one day be professional, full-time professional rugby league player. I think I was pretty blasé about it. I was just more happy to be in the team, be around the boys, be around Joe, Les, Johnny, JP, Radders, Reardon, all the lads, Deeks. I was just happy to be within a group rather than really excelling at my game. But at some point, I realised that that's not what I was put on a rugby field to do. I wanted to try and better myself. Just didn't want to be part of a good group. I wanted to play every week and be in the team and play stand-off and try and lead a team and make big plays often to win games. So to do that, I had to move teams. Ian Millward wanted to sign me first. I had a conversation with Brian Noble. I said, I told him that I was thinking about going and that Saints were interested, and he just said, if you feel like you need to go, son, you go, kind of thing. And I remember thinking, if they wanted you to stay, that's not somebody'd say if they really wanted you to stay. Kind of take the hint, Leon, take the hint.
I think one of the big issues probably was that Nobby was involved in the contract negotiations. I don't think a coach should ever be involved in that, because, if you're telling one thing to one player and another thing to another player, then players just talk. When we were close to the group, you talk, and then when you find out you're being lied to or you're being told the truth, you lose trust. And I think the coach who has the trust of his players is the coach who gets the most out of the players. So the contract negotiations is always about bluffing, right? So that should be down to the management of the team, not the coach, to do it. And I think that was really impacting our form in that.
We'd been to a barbecue at Leslie Vinicola's. I remember this quite vividly. And there were pockets of conversations going on around this barbecue throughout the afternoon. Yeah, alcohol was flowing, so tongues were a little bit looser than what they'd normally be. And every pocket of conversation that I went to, they were actually talking about being upset with the coach, being upset with Nobby.
As all successful clubs will tell you, when you develop your own players, as Bradford did, as Leeds did, there comes a price hike. When you produce your own players for a few years, they're quite cheap, even though they're really, really good players, you know, your Peacocks and your Bradfords. But there comes a point where they want fair worth for what they're doing. And we'd produce international players. All people on the fringes want a better salary, which makes it difficult to keep everybody. Leon Price is an iconic member of the Bradford Bulls and is an iconic Bradfordian too. Signed as a 16-year-old and an outstanding world-class player. So absolutely every top club then covets your best players that you've produced yourselves. And rumours were circulating right from early on in the season that so-and-so had signed for so-and-so and he's leaving the club. And because I kept having board meetings saying, well, we need to make a decision on so-and-so. I said, well, I want to keep him. I said, but his agent says he wants X amount of money. And so that conundrum and that fine balancing act was going on week in, week out. It was draining me. It must have been draining the board of directors. And it must certainly have been draining the 5 or 6 players that were involved who, am I going to get a contract or am I not going to get a contract? And is that contract going to be worth because I've been offered X amount by somebody else?
You know, said Tellings were a bit of a bogey team for Bradford.
Yeah, they hammered us, absolutely hammered us that day. I think that was probably the low point as a group.
Bradford and the supporters, though, it has been an erratic season as they go through a transitional stage. And it's a credit to them, really, that they remain in contention for a top 2 place. Deacons kick off underneath at Wellens. Here is Paul Anderson, who was once upon a time a huge hero here at Odsal, but now is being pushed back towards the Saints line. That's magnificent defence from Bradford in the first tackle of the game. Here is Cunningham, great ball back on the inside. Here's the first try for John Wilkin, and Harris will float the ball wide, and Reardon is in.
I'd got sent off here. I'd taken Jamie Lyon's head off here. Got sent off. We had a massive, really bad loss.
But Lyon is angered there by Leon Price.
That he could get sent off for this. He knew exactly what he was doing.
It is a red card for Leon Price.
The next day, we're meeting Saints. So I got sent off for hitting Jamie Lyon on head, and then I went over to St Helens to meet Daniel Anderson, the coach. I've been really nervous, thinking that they wouldn't want to sign me anymore, and he just said, listen, you don't need to be nervous, don't worry about it. Still want you. I think there's a lot of things good things you could do here. I remember having that conversation, that's where I want to go. You know, there's 2 different conversations I'd had with the coaches, and that were definitely the more positive. So yeah, I remember then that were my time to go after that.
Really, they have patches throughout the season, the Saints side, when they do look the best, clearly the best side in this country, and at present they're going through one of those patches again.
The Bulls today have conceded 60 points in the Super League for the first time ever. This is Gardner, no mistaking this time, 64-4.
In sport, when you're teetering downwards and you're not playing well, you have to have the final bottom part, and I think that was that game. 66 points to 4, absolutely hammered.
I think what changed was probably when everybody did put pen to paper, decided where they were going, and came out with it publicly, well, not publicly, but to the boys.
For me, it was dribs and drabs. You obviously, that time of year, you hear so many rumours. He spoke to this club and he spoke to that club. But I always remember Leon being the first of the big, the names at the club at that time. Leon was the first one that came out and said he was going to St Helens.
When we said that to each other and we talked about it, and everything was clear, and we sat down, I think we went for a really good team drink. We just had a lot of clear the air talks, and having a beer is good for that. People just say what they think, and I think we all then, from that day onwards, said, listen, let's just finish this for each other. Let's go out on the right note. I'm going to go. I've made my decision. I've signed, but I still want to win something with you boys.
I wanted to stay at the club. Speaking with Bry, it's the old salary cap scenario. We can't keep you, and I didn't get fixed up till quite late coming to Hull. So I think it was a matter of time, you know, telling people, not actually wanting to tell people.
When you play with a player for like 50, 100, 200 games, you create a bond. You know, when you win, when you lose, you do create a bond with people, because playing rugby, it's hard. There's no getting away from it. You know, if you played, it's difficult, and you have to pay a price with your teammates. And you know, that would be the thing I probably miss most about playing, paying that price together with somebody. And that creates a bond with you, and you want to do the right thing. And to think you might never play again with that person or these group of players, it is a big thing. And I think that realisation that we're in the last chance saloon here and we're good enough to go do something about it, I think after the Saints game began to pull us together.
JP tells a slightly different version of events as to what happened. I know that they used to speak to each other, but we had probably 6 people that were leaving the club that had been there from day one, like me, you know, 95, 96-ish, or part of the recruitment operation, and we had to get it out.
So Nobby pulled me in and actually was about to have a go at me, it seemed. I've seen this scenario before. And I said, oh, hold up. Let's have a clear understanding of the full landscape. I says, Nobby, you've lost the dressing room, mate. And he was shocked. And it was shocking for me that it was shocking for him, that he actually didn't realise that.
I couldn't tell Nobby. I remember I think we'd been beaten by Leeds, beat by Leeds, and I come down to training the next day and I saw Nobby, and he said, he was doing a video review, and he said, so are you signing for them? I went, no, I'm not signing for them. And he knew I was lying, and I knew that he knew I was lying. It was one of them things. He nodded heads and walked out of there. You know, I felt horrible about it, but I thought it's not the right time to say, you know, you've lost trust with us a bit. But I think as a group we did realise, right, that we have to circle the wagons and do what we need to do, not what other people are telling us to do and putting that pressure on us.
Nobby, he rang Chris, he said, I'm out of the negotiations, I'm out of those conversations. Then he brought the whole team in and he laid that on the line. And I think, maybe not for everyone, but for a lot of people, that gained him a lot of that respect back, because it then became about the unit again, not about the strategic elements of the club, you know, the longevity of the club.